Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be streaming from. Welcome to Becoming Awesome. And as you can tell, if you watched the show before, no WWE belts behind me. We are in DC for our own summit. With it's a Amazon meeting where a lot of people from our organization are here down in DC to meet and celebrate and just be together and learn a lot from each other. So excited to have you and have you with me standing next to me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the shirt. I have a very generous. Ray is very generous. In case anybody doesn't know, he actually took his shirt off his back and let me borrow his shirt today. That's the kind of guy and friend and recruiter he is for his candidates. Really, really, really kind. But yeah, I'm having a great time here too. We are here to talk about all things recruiting. Lots of really great innovation that's happening here in recruiting, and just really keeps us excited about 2024.
Yeah, and what more can we do for our customers? So candidates and internal customers, everyone is just trying to refine it, make it better. But the guest today, let's not keep them waiting.
Yes.
You should do the honors.
I am going to do the honors because the guest that we have today is my customer. I have been working with Yudhajeet for about 2 years now, and I have to say this has been the most inclusive team that I've worked for. I've been able to join some of the offsites and really go deep to learn the business. I find Yudhajeet to be really fair and have a high bar for talent. And it's been really amazing watching you grow your team. So without further ado, my friend Yudhajeet, please, why don't you just share a little bit about yourself and why did you even decide to come do this show today?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Ray and Jenna, thank you for organizing this show.
You're on mute, Yudhajeet.
I am?
Yeah.
Not from this side?
It was our speaker.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Well, I'm sure whatever you said was great, and you'll get to say it again.
Yeah.
Let's do this once more time. Ray and Jenna, thank you so much for having me on the show today. Ray, I've watched so many of your shows, and I was really looking forward to ask you some questions about the belts. So that's so sad that they are not there, but you'll have to invite me again so that we can discuss the WWE belts.
Absolutely. Will do. But again, pleasure to have you, especially if the guest is a fan of the show itself. So I'd love to learn about you and why you're interested in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Well.
So one thing that really struck me when I was watching these shows over the last few months is that on top of the cool technology and the teams that we get to learn about from the show, there is also a human touch and a human angle to how you ask the questions, how the guests present their stories. So real people, real stories, real experiences, and I feel that we need more platforms to voice our experiences and what shapes us as individuals and allows us to do the job we perform. Because there is more to doing the job than just doing the job. It's also reflective of who we are and what our values and visions are. So thank you so much for giving us the voice. So that's why I'm here.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. And you used the word real a few times. So I'm going to tie that to space is real, right? And you can share with us that there's real things happening in space and exciting things happening in space. That your team is working on. So we want to hear all about that because that is still feels out there.
Literally.
Yeah, I have seen the curvature of the Earth. So yeah, it is. Space is real for sure. And my team is making customers realize that, helping customers go to space, collect data from space, send data back to Earth from space, and all of that. So that is where my team lies. My team is AWS, Aerospace, and Satellite. It is an industry vertical sitting inside worldwide public sector. And we work with commercial companies who are in the space industry. We work with global customers. We have team presence in North America, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and also all across Asia, Pacific, Japan. We have a fairly small team, but we we make it up by what one person can accomplish in this job. And all of us are so passionate about the industry and our customers, that we love this team, we love this job, and yeah, it's a very exciting space to be in, pun intended.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can share specifically, like a public reference use case, just to sort of bring that more alive?
Oh yeah, there's so many. There's a little bit of recency bias when I share, because it just happened. One of our customers, AWSome Space, completed their third successful human space flight to International Space Station, and feels very proud to say that one of my solution architects was involved in the IT infrastructure of AWSome Space. So we have direct involvement in their success. Also, a few weeks ago, Project Kuiper was launched into orbit by another customer of mine, which is United Launch Alliance. And we are on stage at reInvent with United Launch Alliance. The video is in YouTube if somebody wants to check it out. It's really cool what they are doing with launch vehicles. So yeah, these are the few examples that come to mind.
That's pretty wild. I mean, the other a little while ago, I was speaking to another manager of mine, and in the genomic space, and I asked him like, "What's really cool about this job and that team, etc." And he said, literally for people in the genomic space, leading edge technology, and they're building systems that's literally going to save lives or improve lives. I mean, boiling it down, that's how incredible is that? Tell me, what is really cool about the job that we'll be talking about shortly? Like, what's really special? Why should someone that's doing incredibly well, a top performer at another organization, say, you know what, that's really compelling?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to I want to talk about that. What's special about this job on a little bit of a human side, and from sharing my own story. So this might be a common occurrence in all of us growing up, but after learning about the moon landing and Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, I remember walking with my parents on the terrace of our house and looking at the moon and saying, so people went there. Can I go there someday? And my mother would say, yeah, only if you study really hard and if you become an astronaut and things like that. So the conversation has gone from there at the fantasy stage when I was growing up to when I visited my parents last time. I told them, you know what, a customer of mine landed on moon. They could not control the spacecraft velocity at the last moment, and that's why they crash landed, and the spacecraft is not responding anymore. But it was a successful landing. They tried it for the first time, and they touched the spacecraft on lunar surface, and they're like, what? So the conversation has gone from a fantasy level to a weekly update, and this is what I do for work. And this job offers you that possibility to be in the space industry, to work with customers who are doing such cutting edge innovation, who are extending the final frontier, as they call it, extending the boundaries of human existence and going further and further into space. Things like all of us always wanted to do. So this team is making that happen. So that is what the great thing about the job is.
So I have heard, and I really love it. I think it's a great way to phrase it. I've heard Clint, your leader, use the term "to space" or "to the stars through cloud,"
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure if he made that up, but or not, or who made that up. But I love it. It really sticks with me. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, props to the marketing team for coming up with that, and props to Clint as well to hammer that that line in the whole team. I love the line. I love it because it has the star cloud play, but also the cloud really means with a capital C, the IT cloud. What it means to us is we are enabling the journey towards the stars, but we are making it happen by providing a fundamental IT infrastructure, and the foundations of all these technologies are being backed up by the IT applications running on an AWS cloud. So that is something that makes me really proud.
Yeah, and because it's so new, and actually we're doing so much talking here at the summit about the day one culture, right? since your team is considered a startup or a evolved startup at this point, what is the day one? How are you seeing a day one culture in your organization, and how do you keep it as the team further develops?
Yeah, day one culture is important irrespective of which stage of the business we are. For example, we are fairly new, but also if you look back, this is the 5th year of our existence. So we don't know which timeline it falls under, after how many years we will stop getting called a startup. But I think if we adopt the day one culture, probably never, because we are always thinking like a startup. And by that, we mean we are always challenging the status quo. We are never settling for a mediocre solution. We are never settling for any kind of compromise. We are always questioning about how we can do things better. We are always trying to maximize the utilization of whatever resources we have. We are being scrappy. We are adopting two-way door mechanisms. If it's a two-way door mechanism, go do. If it doesn't work, we will change it and do something else. There are very few one-way door mechanisms that we have, if any. So those are the things that imbibe the day one culture to me. And another thing that day one to me means is always insisting on the highest standards, which is a leadership principle I love. So insisting on the highest standards and never being complacent of any previous success. So that is also what day one means to me.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And how would you tie that to the qualities you're looking for in the ideal candidate? Let's go into the role a little bit. Let's talk about, the background they need to have technically, as well as the LP side, right? So the behavioral side. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the job that is open in my team, which is for the solution architect in aerospace and satellite, the technical qualities I am looking for is mainly experience architecting IT infrastructure in your previous organizations. So if you have experience architecting those infrastructures, whether they're in AWS cloud, on your on-prem cloud, any other cloud, it does not matter as long as you have the expertise for that. That is a job requirement I have. Having space industry knowledge is not a must-have. We believe that we have the knowledge internally, and we also have the mechanisms we have built inside the team to help people learn the space, upskill themselves on the space industry knowledge and operational knowledge on the basis of which customers they will be working on. So that is something we can teach. So if you don't have space knowledge, that is fine. Don't get deterred from applying in the job. But some passion for space industry is definitely needed. We would really appreciate if you are up to date with the news of what is happening in the space industry, recent lunar landings, for example, and any kind of human missions that are going on into space, which countries are doing great in the space technology, those kind of things. That knowledge would be nice to give talking points, but having space or satellite communications or aerospace engineering knowledge is not required for the job.
Thank you for demystifying that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well said, really.
Thank you.
When you look at the job descriptions, the way they're written, they're very plain, and they really don't speak to the job and really the type of ideal profiles. And sometimes, to no fault of their own, the wrong type of applicants sometimes apply. We see that often, and that's not good for them, right? And we talk about customer obsession from our side. We want to be able to make everything easier for them, even if it means giving them more clarity, or like this, some kind of more transparency, so they can either weed themselves in or weed themselves out. And having these conversations that they don't get a chance to normally hear really helps in that aspect. So this customer obsession from the recruiting aspect, speaking to you and really trying to demystify what you and your team are looking for, and then maybe there's something better aligned for their background. So let's dive in one last time. Who should be looking at this rec? Like, what type of backgrounds do you normally see would kind of fit, aside from the qualification of not having space, but who should actually look at this?
So if you have solution architecture background, if you have worked with IT and enterprise, and you have set up IT infrastructure in your organizations, If you have experience in hands-on building cloud solutions, if you have worked with any kind of security infrastructure or authentication infrastructure, if you have those kind of knowledge, then that is definitely helpful from the technical side. From the leadership principles side, I am looking for leadership principles like ownership. So someone who looks at a fire and says, "Yep, that's mine to put out. Sign me up." That's definitely valuable. I also value in my team having backbone, disagree, and commit, because I always don't know the right way. In fact, very rarely do I know the right way to approach a problem. I always appreciate different kinds of feedback and diversity of opinions and thoughts. Diversity of thinking, diversity of experiences is something I value both in the team, the company, and also in the space industry. So having backbone and being able to articulate why you think what you think is a leadership principle that I'm also looking for. And also, I appreciate deliver results under all circumstances.
Yeah, I definitely believe that anybody that joins your team will be set up for success. Yeah, I want to just double down on the like how they're going to learn the space industry. I mean, I think you gave really good guidance on like how they can get there, or how they can share their passion beyond, like I'm thinking like Star Trek, like, like I love the movie Star Trek, like I love space, like that feels a little weak, right? But yet you have given some really good guidance on how to demonstrate that passion. But then once they're here, right, you talked about some mechanisms to help them really learn the space. Do you mind just sharing a little bit more like what that looks like at launch? No pun intended.
Yeah. We can always use the words like launch and liftoff and things like that when we're talking about space, right? So yeah, we have the standard onboarding mechanism of 90 days where the solution architect will be able to chart their path. They will be able to do a proof of concept, a POC. They can choose something related to the space industry, which is what I chose for my onboarding. That allows them to work with a mock-up customer and simulate a kind of a space solution. They will also get a chance to shadow existing solution architects on their calls with customers to learn firsthand from what those customers are doing. But another valuable mechanism we have is the technical field communities, or the TFCs. Now, we have an aerospace and geospatial TFC specifically imparting the space systems design and satellite communications, those knowledge that any solution architect can sign up for, be a part of, and get that knowledge. We have set it up. We own the ANG Geospatial TFC, whose main purpose is the dissemination of space and geospatial knowledge. You're muted.
What you have set up is...
Can you start over?
Yeah, so I just want to validate or just share my observation that what you have set up is more than a good intention. It is indeed a mechanism to set people up for success.
Well, good intentions don't work. Only mechanisms work. Like Jeff Bezos would love to say.
Yeah. It's funny. Even earlier at the conference, they were talking about that good intentions aren't good enough sometimes, right? So it's really about the execution, the planning and the execution, and then post-execution, the inspection, right? So all of these things really, really matter.
Yes.
And it's funny. Yeah, that full flywheel, as you mentioned. I got to ask, I just found out earlier, so you built a satellite on your own? Like, so what in the world? Literally, like, tell me a little bit about that.
So my entry into the space industry was through a student program where we built a CubeSat in University of Michigan. So as a grad student, I entered the team as a member of the communications subsystem where we're designing PCB boards. But soon I became the project leader, and we took the satellite build from a trade study stage through preliminary design review PDR, through critical design review CDR. and we took it to INT when I joined my job in the startup that I was working on before Amazon. But the satellite got launched in 2021 in the air launch, which was the first successful launch by Virgin Galactic. So they took the rocket, attached it to the wing of a space of a flight, and they dropped it midair, and the rocket went up. And there was a camera, and I was watching the live stream. And throughout the entire process, I was like, "Nah, it's not gonna work. Oh, my satellite is going to fall. Oh, this is going to this is going to blow up." But none of that happened. It went smoothly, successfully, and when it reached the orbit altitude of 500 kilometer, you could see through the camera. You can see the curvature of the Earth, proving that it's round, by the way. And so, and they ejected the satellite. And there was a little bit of time when a few days when we did not get signal. The students did not get signal, but then we did, and the mission was successful. Building the satellite hands-on was an unbelievable experience. We'll never forget it.
As we were prepping, I said, here's a guy sitting there, building satellites on his time off. And then here I am taking my daughter to wrestling shows, like one's using his brains, one's losing his vocal cords, so.
Everything you use phrase. It was fun.
The guitars. So I see guitars behind you, like you're also a musician.
I am a musician. I consider myself mainly musician. I do space stuff on the side. That's what I told Jenna in our last interview as well. But yeah.
That's awesome. Do you tie? Like, I always noticed that people that were musically inclined also pick up like programming languages much faster because of the way the syntax work and how music is written and stuff like that. Do you also feel the same?
I hope it works for them. I am really bad at programming. So that's the reason I'm not a software developer.
Okay. All right. So it's
funny. A thinker. Have you gotten that yet?
I know. He's thinking way out there, literally. Yeah. So yeah.
No, music is something to me that it comes naturally to me. So this is something I don't have to think of. But this I really have to think of. I'm not smart enough to do that in my sleep.
Gotcha. So we only have a few minutes left. Just want to get your thoughts one last time. Boil this down one more time. What's really, really cool? Why should they take a look at this? And then we'll the information on how to contact you through LinkedIn and us as well to reach out and learn more.
Yeah. This is an excellent career opportunity beyond the coolness of space and beyond the initial excitement of wow, that is so awesome. That must be really technically hard and it must be very gratifying. All of that is true, and all of that is still that is the initial attraction of the job. But this job, this team offers you a pathway to career growth. This offers you a chance to work in a dynamic environment with customers who are on their growth trajectory, and they have impact in the industry. They are adopting new solutions, so you will have the opportunity to architect things that never have been architected before. This is not rehashing existing stuff. Sending a snow cone to space had never been done before, and our team did it. So you are working on unprecedented solutions on a weekly basis. This bodes well for your career. You will feel fulfilled, and you will feel inspired to work with people who are really smart in this team. I learn a lot from my directs every day who have such great experiences, and they bring those experiences from outside the space industry and they come and apply it with the space customers to solve space solutions. So there's a great end product, and you can see it happening. Is very close to the customer. It's not far away that you'll build something and you'll never hear about it again. You will see it in the field right as you deploy it. And yeah, this is a great atmosphere. This is a great team. So I really hope you take some time to read the job and apply for it.
Thank you, Yudhajeet. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing so much detail about your team, what you were able to, and what you're looking for, and your background and your passion for the space. I think it really came out. And I know you will find a great candidate. And we hope they're out there. We know they're out there, and we know yes, and we know that they will be set up for success. Even more importantly, right? So we want to attract them, we want to acquire them, but most importantly, we want to set them up for success. And so I believe wholeheartedly that anyone that joins your team will learn a great deal and will be supported in a big way.
Well, you got the dynamic duo right here. So you have an incredible recruiter, and then you have a gentleman that's like thinking way beyond, my capacity of learning and thinking altogether. But with that, Yudhajeet, absolute pleasure meeting you. Definitely talk offline about wrestling again, right? But at the same time, I recruit solution architects all the time. We'll partner with Jenna and make sure that if someone's really interested in the space field, sending them right over your way. So everyone listening, we'll send you the links. Watch the replay. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.
Back to the recruiting summit.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.